Hello there, welcome along. This is Business Connections Live. It's great to have your company. It is program number 18, if my memory serves me right. And they never said it would last this long, but here we are once again. More business advice, more marketing news. In fact, everything you need when it comes to starting a small to medium scale enterprise. Or if you're just thinking about starting a business, where do you go to get that expert advice? Well, that's what Business Connections Live is all about. And it's great to have you with us live on this Wednesday evening. Now, we've got a very interesting show. We've got the return, you probably just noticed him a moment or so there. We've got the welcome return of one of our guests from a previous programme. Steve Mills is with us tonight. And on the last programme he was with us, he was talking about how to get the most, how to capitalise, how to maximise your impact on LinkedIn. But tonight, it's a little bit different because we're going to be talking about how to maximise your marketing effort, aren't we?
Indeed,
and I suppose to a certain extent, Steve, LinkedIn actually kind of ties in with that, which is just one of your many skills, in fact.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, LinkedIn is a great strategy for marketing your business, but it's only one of many. And I really believe in the approach in marketing of having multiple streams. You know, very few successful businesses just market themselves one way. They all have many, many different ways of marketing themselves. And LinkedIn is great. Most of it is free and is a fantastic tool to market a business without any shadow of a doubt.
Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty of what we're going to be talking about tonight, let's talk a little bit about you, because I think it's always fascinating and interesting. You're very entrepreneurial in the way that you do things. You know, you've run the training courses on LinkedIn. Your background, of course, is in sport.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the Prudent Marketeer.
Well, the Prudent Marketeer is a program that I've developed over 25 years. I've been involved in marketing, helping small businesses now for 25 years. And in that time, you tend to learn what works and what doesn't. And I've basically put a program together for small businesses that is all about really getting a better understanding of what works, measuring what works, improving what you're already doing, and getting the best possible return on investment from every marketing pound or dollar or minute that you spend.
Well, I mean, it sounds absolutely fascinating. And of course, a lot of small businesses do find that they're going to be running out of budget to a certain extent. They don't know where to go. And I think sometimes it's this old thing about marketing, isn't it? I've got a budget for marketing. I've got so much to spend. Half of it, of course, doesn't work.
Yeah, that's
the
right.
trouble is, I don't know which half.
Don't know which half, yeah,
now,
absolutely.
Some people, I've read in places, what some people have said is that that's all very well, and maybe 20 years ago, you didn't know which half of your marketing budget, even 5 years ago, you didn't. But today, you really can measure what is working in your marketing campaign, can't you?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Steve. There's no excuse right now for not having a really good understanding, because certainly online it's very, very easy, from using something like Google Analytics to get an understanding of how many people you come to your website, where they come from, how many people convert. There's so many opportunities right now to understand your marketing, and yet I work with hundreds of businesses, and when I start working with them, not one in 100 has got a real grasp on what's working, where their marketing leads are coming from, how many leads are converted, and to be honest, it costs businesses an absolute fortune. It's one
and they
of
could
the
really do
biggest
some really
mistakes.
big saving, couldn't they, if they were to actually do their marketing more,
Yeah,
well, maybe more
absolutely.
productively, but more creatively, and have more control over it.
There's an old saying, isn't there, that you cannot manage what you do not measure. And if I'm out there and I'm advertising here and I'm doing Google pay-per-click and all those wonderful things that we can do, but I don't know what's working and what's not, there's a very good chance, as you mentioned, that I'm wasting a significant amount of my marketing budget. So that really is step one of the Prudent system, to get an understanding of your key marketing numbers. I always say to people that when you get an accountant, they will want to come in and know your accountancy, know your financial numbers. That's absolutely essential. And most businesses know that because they employ an accountant, but most of them don't have a good grasp of those key sales and marketing numbers. And that's one of the things I help people to do.
Do you think people get a little bit frightened when you start talking about marketing? Because it is, for a start, people get confused between marketing and sales. That's one thing for certain.
Definitely.
But do you think people do get frightened because they think it's going to be an expensive way forward to actually sell their product? Are they looking at this great big bucket of money that is eventually going to disappear?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of people tend to regard marketing as a cost. The amount of times when I say, you need to do this, and they'll say, well, I can't afford it, Steve. And the truth of the matter is you cannot afford not to do it if it works. That's the key. Is it working? Which is all part of understanding those numbers. If I'm, for example, if I'm paying £500 a month on Google Analytics and I'm using pay-per-click advertising. So I know that for every £500 I spend, that's producing, let's say, 40 leads. I'm converting half of those into business, and that's producing £10,000 worth of business. Now that's either a great deal or not, dependent on my profit,
where you are and
but it sounds pretty good, doesn't it? So why am I limiting that to 500? Because if I did more of it, then probably, give or take, I'm going to get the same result. And yet, if I don't know that figure, then I could carry on spending my £500 a month forevermore and run a reasonable business, but never have that true potential. So by understanding that for every pound I spend, I'm getting 10 back, I almost have an unlimited budget. I'd be happy. Would you be happy to spend £1 million if you knew it was going to get you 10?
Well, but it's the gamble all the time, isn't it?
Yeah,
if I spend $1 million, and really to a certain
sure.
extent in business, marketing shouldn't be a gamble.
No.
Through research
I agree.
and trial marketing, you should actually know the way you're going to be going with it.
One of the most important words in marketing is the word testing. Everything should be tested. We never know. Don't rely on someone like me coming in and saying, well, if you do this, this will work. The truth is that we can do a test, we can try it, we can stick our toe in the water, and if it works, then we can do more of it. And that is, again, that key part of that prudent way of doing things. Not throwing money at it. I'm a Yorkshireman, we don't like to waste money, and so what I like to do, and I like to help my clients do, is to test things, try them out, do a little bit more, do a little bit more, and do a little bit more. Always measuring what's working and what's not. And then also, step 2 is trying to improve the performance of what's working.
Now, the last time you were in, you gave us a few quick wins. I think in the first 10 minutes, I remember listening to you, and you said to us, here's a way of doing something. And I went, crikey, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I actually said, listen, if you don't watch anything else, that 10 minutes is just as valuable as you need it to be.
Yeah.
If we were looking for a quick win when it comes to marketing, if we are dipping our toe in the water, if we were looking for one single idea, one single strategy that in the first 10 minutes of the program could make a difference to somebody's business, what do you think it would be?
Well, I would say that, if you ask me what is the best form of marketing on the planet, I would say without a doubt, even with all the technology and internet and all those wonderful things, I'd still say it comes down to word of mouth. Recommendation, personal recommendation from people that know me, like me, and trust me. That is the truth. That is the best way of marketing. And when I speak in front of large groups, I often ask, where do you get most of your business? 99% of the time people say, well, we spend all our money on, advertising. We get most of our business from referral. That's right. Okay. Well, there's maybe a bit of an issue there. But then I say, tell me, do you have a referral marketing system? Do you have a specific way of winning business? I said, well, what do you mean, Steve? I said, well, let's say, for example, you went back to your current customers. Let's say you've got 100 clients right now, and you picked up the phone and you built a little bit of rapport, and then you asked them a very specific question. Thank you very much for your being a customer of mine, and I believe you're a satisfied customer from what you've said. And what I'd like to do is ask you a very quick question. Who do you know that I could help in the same way that I have you? So you have this little script there that is designed to help you get a referral. And let's say you asked all those 100 people. You made one phone call a day over the next 100 days. And because it's a referral, let's say you got half of them to give you one referral. And some of them may give you 2 or 3, others may give you none. But let's say on average you got 1 referral from 50% of your 100 calls. You then, because it's a referral, you get a good conversion rate. So let's say you get half of those to turn into customers. What have you just done? You've just grown your business by 25% without spending a penny on marketing, without any risk whatsoever. And you've just started one process of utilising what I believe is the best marketing on the planet.
Now, many companies, of course, don't realise the power or the value of their customer list.
Absolutely.
These are people that have already bought from you. They're qualified people, so it should be easy. You've already got that relationship.
Well, I get asked so many times, Steve, where can I get the best list from? And I'll say the same thing, you've already got it. It's that little pot of gold that is sitting in your current database. Your current database of customers, of past customers, of prospects, of people that know you, like you, trust you. That's where the value is for so many small businesses, and they're just not harvesting that pot of gold.
Well, that little pot of gold with all the little nuggets that are inside of it, it's a valuable resource, and you should really be making absolutely certain that you are using it. Remember, they are already qualified customers for your business. So if you're approaching them again, why keep reinventing the wheel? You can grow your business on customers that you've already got. And of course, there is no harm. I think a lot of businesses, a lot of small businesses anyway, are very frightened sometimes to be asking for a referral. Would you please tell me, I've done this for you. Is there anyone you know that I could do it for as well? Just asking that referral. Also, sometimes that recommendation as well. A lot of people are frightened to sort of say, look, what we just did for you, was it good? Would you recommend it as well? Would you give me a recommendation? People are frightened of doing that. And I suppose that's the cornerstone, isn't it, of everything that goes on when it comes to LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, LinkedIn is sort of doing that online, isn't it? But yeah, you're absolutely right with your comment about so many people feel, well, I feel uncomfortable doing that. I'm not sure I could do it. And then they do it just a few times, and all of a sudden it becomes a little bit like riding a bike. It's a little bit more comfortable, and they get to a level where they get better at it and start to win even more business. I had a client a little while ago who came to me and said, we're really in dire straits, Steve. We haven't got any marketing budget. We're losing about £10,000 a month. I need some help. So, that was a bit of a challenge. And I said to him, do you know what I'd do if I was you? I'd pick up the phone and I want you to call 10 people a day, and I want you to ask them 2 questions. 1, can you help? Can you help them at all? And 2, who do you know that might be interested in what we do? Do you know the following day he called me and said, I made the 10 calls today, Steve. I've got 7 referrals and £6,500 worth of business. I said, well, well done, that's fantastic.
It's just having the bravery, having the front.
Picking up the phone,
and actually doing it.
Speaking to customers.
Well, listen, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about, speaking about customers, we're going to be talking to one of our guests that we had on the programme last week. It's interesting, we'll come back to this whole thing about being scared and the fear of picking the phone up and giving somebody a call. We'll talk about that in just a few moments' time. But let's go back to what happened on the programme last week. Phil Smith joined us on the programme. It was a cracking show. I must admit, didn't really know what to expect when Phil turned up. Lovely bloke, really, really top-notch, understood what business was all about, but more importantly, understood about what it takes to start an internet business, to make something happen and turn a business that's going to be successful so you can be your own boss. The name of the website that they've set up is soundtracktoyour.com. The whole idea it was a whole selection of playlists that will fit that play music to you that fit in with your lifestyle. If you're doing the ironing and you want a playlist of music that's going to be ideal for ironing, there you go. But more importantly, there was a whole selection there from running, from DIYing, celebrity playlists. The list was endless. Fantastic site, and they've grown it from nothing. Want to find out more about what happened on last week's edition of the programme? Well, now's your time to watch Business Connections Live. My guest this evening is Phil Smith from soundtracktoyour.com. Yes, I know it sounds like it's a name that isn't quite finished, but what they're saying is it's a soundtrack to your well, everything to your life. It can be to your life, to your marriage, to your work day. It's all there. You fill in the gap where you think another word should be. Soundtrack to your.com.
It's really how we use and consume music in our lives, really. It's the fact that we all have great music that sort of we like to run to, or we like to listen to when we're on the bus going to work, or, you know, we reminds us of our holidays, reminds us of lovers, future and past. It reminds us of the stuff that we had at our wedding, first record we bought. And we thought, well, if you had a record shop where you chopped all this up into these categories, into these new genres of the way that we use music, it's immeasurably much more interesting and useful for people like you or I or anybody else to actually go and find new music to listen to. And it's all about that, crowdsourcing musical taste.
The music that is on the website, who does it belong to? Whose is it? Is it mine? Is it yours? It obviously still belongs to the publisher of the piece of music in some way or another. So who does it belong to? For instance, I went to the site, I'm not a member of the site today. I went on there and I was listening to Aerosmith. And I thought, well, who does that belong to?
Well, the way it actually works at the moment is that it is a completely legal service. Completely legal. And what we actually do is we use pre-licensed libraries of music, both from YouTube and another provider called SoundCloud. That's the way that you get to hear all the music that you actually want to listen to through the site. So it's pre-licensed by YouTube and it's pre-licensed by SoundCloud. Well, the money that we originally raised has taken us to this point and will certainly sustain us for the next 3 to 6 months, so that's not really an issue. Over that next 3 to 6 months, the issue is then to raise the next fund of actual, which would be your first proper fund of round of funding, beg your pardon.
And you're going to be doing crowdfunding,
We're
aren't
doing
you?
this with a site called ShareIn at the moment, sharein.com, and they're a brand new crowdfunding platform. Fantastic people based in Scotland, and we are launching with them, and they go live to super launch in a few weeks' time. So in a few weeks' time, anybody and everybody will be able to have an opportunity of owning a piece of Soundtrack to Your, one which I strongly urge people to take up.
But how do you drive audience? How do you get people
It's not
there?
the snappiest. Well, the simple truth is it's by what it is. It's not essentially going to catch anybody who say is interested in just joining a music service like Google Play or Spotify, one of those. But what it is going to interest people is going, do you know, I'm going to start running this year because obviously that's what I need to do. What music should I listen to? Talk to your friends about it. Find stuff out. It's people who are interested in music for specific things you will find with us.
Who are your mentors?
The ones that we've used have been terrific, really. We've got a great group of people. We have 3 or 4 people who are on our board one or two have done internet businesses of their own. One guy did an amazing motorbike business online, made a fortune and sold it. We've got people from the city, we've got people from legal, we've got people from marketing who are all actually sitting with us and have been giving us the most awesome advice. And to be honest with you, if that's one of the things you really ought to consider, is the quality of your business is probably at the beginning is predicated upon the quality of the professional advice and skills and enthusiasms those people can bring to the party. And we've been blessed. I'm Phil Smith, soundtracktoyour.com, and if I was as truthful as I can be, the things I would absolutely tell you to do about setting up your own business is, more than anything else, believe in your idea. Hone that idea until that idea isn't an idea, it's your idea. That's what it's got to be. And then you've got to drive it. You've got to find the right people and work as hard as you can. It's never going to be easy, but it's a heck of a lot of fun.
That was Phil Smith from last week, a fantastic website. If you do get an opportunity to go onto it, it is soundtracktoyour.com. And one of the most interesting things, particularly for a small to medium scale enterprise, if you're looking for funding at the moment, what we talk about on the program is about crowdfunding. Fascinating subject, some really good incentives in there as well from Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, God love them. And if you want to find out more about it, it is a cracking program, and there's some links as well on the different page on our website at www.businessconnectionslive.com. Incidentally, there it is. If you are watching this on YouTube at the moment, please do subscribe as well to the channel. Thank you very much to all the people who are subscribing. Or if you go onto our website, do join up there and become a member, because we've got some special offers coming along very shortly. Now, this week's guest is Steve Mills, the Prudent Marketeer. He's talking about prudent marketing and how you can actually sort things out and make your business grow simply by marketing effectively. Steve, it's great to have your company with us this evening. We were talking just before we saw last week's program about going to the telephone, using existing customers, phoning them up, asking for a referral. And I was going to say the biggest problem a lot of the time is that we have a fear of picking up the phone. And there is a lovely line from the latest film that Will Smith and his son is in, where he explains to his son, he says, scared is something that is inside of us. We are scared. Fight or flight.
Yes.
Scared is a natural instinct.
It is,
but
absolutely,
fear is something that we impose upon ourselves. We become fearful by telling ourselves that we have the fear. So we can all get over that, can't we?
We can, yeah. I always remember once listening to Tony Robbins, and he said, fear stands for false evidence appearing real.
False
and I thought that was quite
slow down, false evidence.
False evidence appearing real, fear. We have, many fears, no doubt, but I think one of them is the fear of failure. That's why we don't maybe go up to that young lady or young man in a bar when we're courting or looking for a partner in life. And it's also why we don't get on the phone and speak to our customers or prospects. We think, oh, well, they probably won't be interested. And if we think that, we'll be absolutely right. But if we, make enough calls, speak to enough people in a nice way, then, again, telemarketing or being on the phone speaking to people is a great way of winning business.
All right, so that was our first big win. We've got this existing mailing list there, our existing customer list. The thing that actually gives value to your business, that's sitting there. And it doesn't matter, whether it's 10 or 15, 20, 50, 100, 200 customers. The mere fact that you've got some customers shows that you've got something that you can sell. So approach them, talk to them. That's the first big win. We've now contacted our customers. Where do we go from there? What's the strategy that we should have in mind when it comes to promoting and marketing our business?
Well, I think the other big one that a lot of people don't get right is the website. The idea that, sticking a website up on the internet is all of a sudden going to drive, loads of people are going to look at it and loads of people are going to pick up the phone or fill in an email request form on your website. It's just simply not true. We've got to market that website, and these days a website is absolutely essential to a business. Website's been around for many years, but the truth is with websites is that most of them don't work and don't win much business.
There is a danger,
for the
isn't
owner
there,
of the site.
that they end up being just an online electronic brochure.
Well, I hear so many times people make what I call it a cop-out. It's the excuse. They say, well, our website, it's just a brochure site, Steve. Well, it might be, but it could be making you some real money. You could be getting lots and lots of leads. And the truth is there's many ways of doing that. The keys are, I think, number one, getting the traffic. You've got to look at how am I going to get more people to my website. Whatever your numbers are, if you're getting 500 people to your website right now, and you could implement several ideas, several ways of maybe increasing that to 1,000 or 2,000 people a month or maybe a day to your website, then that's fantastic. But again, it's a great thing for you to do, but what you really want to do is to then convert the people from visitors into clients. So your website's also got to be good at conversion. What is your conversion
that
systems
call to
on
action,
the,
isn't
that
it?
call
It's
to
making
action,
certain that you're telling them that you want them to do something.
Yeah.
That it isn't a passive event
when
when they turn up.
I go to most websites and there's like there's this there's loads of stuff and it's totally confusing. What is the purpose of your page? What is the purpose of your homepage? On mine, it's to get people to fill out a form to download a free ebook that I give away. And once they've done that, I've got them in my system, I've got them in my email system. I can pick up the phone and say, hi, just call in, did the ebook download, have you had a chance to read it, what did you think, would you like to meet up?
Come on then, call up your, what would be the way that people would find your website? I know you've got a presentation there, but call up a search engine and let's just see how effective it is when it comes to using your own website.
Okay, certainly. So if I go on to Google and have a look.
I know I've thrown that at you.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that's okay. We can,
I can cope. I can cope.
There we are.
So there we are. That's my website. So that's great. But what I want to do is to make sure that I get more people to it. So you can see here on my site, I've got a YouTube video. So we all know the power of video on a website is really great. But what I've got that really works fantastically well is this button here. I get leads all day from this. I drive traffic to this website from LinkedIn, from Facebook, through my email marketing, from Twitter, and from my search engine optimization. The video basically encourages people to download the ebook, and once they've done that, they're already in my marketing system.
So when they
that's
click on the
fantastic.
link that says download the particular content that you've got there, what happens to that click? Is it something that comes up instantly on the page, or is it something that is sent to them as an email?
It's sent to them as an email. I use a fantastic system called Infusionsoft. That's a website, it's infusionsoft.com, and what Infusionsoft does is it then sends them an email automatically without me doing anything saying, do you really want this book? And that's so that I get people to what's known as double opt-in. So that gets me past the spam filters in the future. It then sends them the book. They then get automatically added to a sequence. Now, a sequence in Infusionsoft means that they may get a variety of emails from me. They could get some direct mail. They could, I could set it up to program a phone call from me. So it gets a variety of different contacts over a period of time. So what Infusionsoft does for me is it enables me to automate all my follow-up, and it enables me to keep in touch with my customers, prospects and suspects on an ongoing basis.
And it really is, it's prodding them on an ongoing basis,
Absolutely,
isn't it?
yeah. I think, you know, one of the biggest mistakes that I see in business is people do not keep in touch with people. You know, I speak to businesses and they say, you know, well, yeah, we send out a quarterly newsletter. You know, I mean, come on, you know, that's never going to build a quality a quality relationship. It's got to be more than that. You know, if I, again, to use an analogy, meet a young lady in a bar, we have a great night out, and I say, well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll send you an email in 3 months. You know, that relationship is not going to work. Yeah, it's not going to work. You know, I need to keep in more redolent. Okay, maybe we don't want that intimate relationship with all our business clients, but we do want them to at least know who we are. Now, I've got a database of nearly 60,000 businesses that I've built up over the time. And I can tell you now that I could call any one of those people and they all know me, because they get regular communication from me in terms of ideas and information and tips and invites to my seminars as well. So it's a matter of, you know, building that database and keeping in touch with people.
Well, two things there, two things. I mean, first of all, the name of the product that you use to do this is?
It's Infusionsoft.com.
Is that expensive?
Yes, it is, unfortunately. It starts at about $200 per month. But like most things marketing, it's not about the cost, it's about the return on investment that you get from it. So,
and there are other companies as well out there.
Yeah,
I mean, there are people like the other autoresponders. We've got the likes of Aweber, who are out there as well. Aweber is another well-known company, and also you might remember on our program a little while back we had In Touch CRM on, and they were talking to us about another great system, a UK-based system as well. So you are talking about a whole host of different autoresponders that are out there. And if you're not familiar with this autoresponders, or it's called a sequence on yours.
It's a sequence, yeah. So it's a variety. You know, if you downloaded an ebook, you get added to that, and I press one button, and that means I could potentially keep in touch with you forever, because I could have a 10-year marketing system.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah.
The problem I would imagine a lot of companies have when they're doing that is that they maybe run out of content that they can send. They, for instance, you're an online marketeer.
Yeah.
For one of your many hats.
Yes, sure.
So what you've got is you've got this catalogue of information. You've got the one that was on your website that we saw just a moment ago. And can I just say the website, lovely and clean, nice look to it. Can we just have a look at the website once again? See, there it is. It's a lovely, clean website. Lots of white on it, very easy to navigate round. It's just a nice looking website. If we just go down to the bottom of the page there, Steve, we'll just look at the opt-in form. Very straightforward, nice big letters, get your free copy. People love the word free, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole syntax of that. The 10 biggest, they say use numbers when you're making an offer. The 10 biggest lead generation mistakes. So there's an answer to a question and a solution. If you want to find out, click here. It's a cracking idea, but how much of that backup material do you have to create?
Well, the truth is, it's an ongoing process. You know, the more information you've got, the better. And I think these days, you know, the idea of marketing being, you know, a couple of paragraphs and then a load of bullets about benefits, about why you should buy my product, almost doesn't work. You know, we're in the information age, we're in the advisory age. You know, we need to become what I call educational marketers. We need to educate, we need to explain, we need to demonstrate before we ever ask anybody for any money that we know what we're talking about and we can do the work. And that's one example there. And I have blogs and I have information, I have loads of stuff on my website that enables me to give away great content. And when people read it, they hopefully read it and think, Steve knows what he's talking about, I'm going to pick up the phone and call him.
And it could well be rejigged content that you've got elsewhere.
Yeah, sure.
You can always repackage and
absolutely. You can learn from other people. There's never been a better opportunity than right now to learn new stuff, new information.
Well, that's all very well. We've got the website. You know where your website is, and I now know where your website is. And you know what? You know where the website is. But how do you drive loads of people to the website? What's the hints to get that footfall coming through your electronic doorfront?
Well, let me just show you where I am on Google, just to give you an idea.
This will make us all envious now.
Yeah, well, I've managed to produce a fantastic result on Google, and let me just demonstrate this for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in Internet Marketing Advice.
Now, before you hit return, the thing that's interesting is that Google is actually filling out what you're typing in.
Sure.
And some people think that what it's doing there, it's calling on the browser's interface, and it's doing it from the memory of past searches that you've put in. But in fact, what Google is doing there, it's filling in the top searches, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely it is. So I run lots of internet marketing training and advice, and I do most of that in my county that I live in, Berkshire, in Bracknell in Berkshire. And you know, no matter where you are, whilst Google's now got very much more locally based, you know, you could go to Dubai and type that phrase into Google, and that will come up. All the listeners, just go and try it, and you'll find that I come up.
Let's look at that page once again, and we'll actually see the results there. So
you can see the first three here. They're the pay-per-click adverts. That's where people have paid to be on the first page on Google. And as I move up there, so you can see here that straight away my website, theprudentmarketer.com, is number 1. It's also number 2 and number 3 and number 4. Number 5 is not me. Number 6 is not me. Number 7 is one of my other websites. And number 8 is that website also, as is number 9, as is number 10. So apart from 2 websites there, all the others on the first page on Google are mine. And I wanted to show you that, not to impress, but just to impress upon that if I can do that, I'm just a very small little business. Anybody can do that. They really can. It's just learning what to do. I call it dominating Google. And I mean it from a point of view of removing all my competitors, or most of them, from the first page on Google so that I'm all over it.
So what about techniques when it comes to this? This is all down to optimizing the words you use, isn't it? For instance, what you typed in there, you typed in once again?
I typed in Internet Marketing Advice Berkshire.
So it's Berkshire is narrowing it down. It's like a funnel,
absolutely
really, isn't
is.
it?
Yeah, yeah.
You're making it specific to a particular area. But then the other words, what do you do? I mean, how do you make those words become your words?
Yeah. The key is, I think, two things I'd like to explain to listeners. One, very important one, is to pick the battles you can win. That is just the best marketing advice I ever got. Pick the battles you can win. So for example, wouldn't it be great if I was on the first page on Google under Internet Marketing Training? It'd be great, but it might be a bit tougher than Internet Marketing Training Berkshire. That's easier. You know, it's much easier. And so what I'm doing is I'm being, as you said, funneled down. I'm trying to focus on what I've got a chance of dominating on, rather than trying, it'd be great for me to be on the first page on Google under marketing, but that would also be pretty tough. And so I don't pick the battles that I can't win, I pick the battles that I can. And my second point is to win one battle at a time. I see so many businesses when I start working with them, and I say, have you done any keyword research? And they'll tell me, oh yes, we got an SEO company in to do that. I say, oh fantastic. Where are your keywords? I say, well, here they are. And there's like 150 of them, sometimes even more. And they're trying to get onto the first page on Google.
Of everything.
Of everything. And so they achieve nothing.
Yeah.
And for me, it's maybe pick the battles you can win and win one battle at a time is a little bit too focused, and maybe it should be try and win 3 or 4 battles at a time, but that's the way I've done it, and I've just got great results, and that's what I teach. I teach other people how to do what I've just shown you.
When identifying keywords, then what is the way you would go about doing it for your business? We're talking there about Berkshire because that's where you are, but I would imagine a lot of small businesses, they do exactly what you just said. There are 100 keywords they put in.
Yeah.
So how do you go about deciphering that, bringing it down to something more manageable and more effective for you as a small business?
Sure. I have a 4-step system, part of my Prudent program. Step 1 is to decide, what do you think? You know your business better than I do. So if you were looking for you, what would you type into Google? And I get my customers to come up with their top 20 phrases that they think that other people might type in. Step 2 is then to go and ask others, go and ask customers, go and ask prospects, go and stand up at a networking event and say, I'd just like to do a little bit of market research. If you were looking for a market gardener in Wokingham, what would you type into Google? And just ask them what they do. Step 3 is to use one of the many keyword research tools. The one I like is called Word Tracker. That's wordtracker.com. You can get a free use of it for, I think, 24 hours or something like that. But it's a fantastic website. And what Word Tracker does is it actually tracks the words that people are typing into Google and the other search engines. So I'll give you an example. If we looked at marketing advice, it would probably tell me that there are 2.5 million searches that have been undertaken under the term marketing advice. It would also tell me that there are 1.5 million websites with that as a search term. So for me, that's a little bit tough. You understand, Steve? Yeah, it's a tough phrase for me to get in there. So what I'm looking for when I'm on Word Tracker is phrases that have got a reasonable amount of searches and not so many websites, because I don't want to compete against the world. You know, if I was an accountant, I wouldn't try to be on the first page on Google under the word accountant. I'd probably niche my phrases down to accountant London, or maybe hotel accountant. So to be much more niched than trying to get onto that phrase of accountant. And then step 4, there's a way on the internet of actually going and having a look at what your competitors are doing.
Well,
So
you can see what their keywords.
physically see what their keywords are.
Oh, how do you do that?
Yeah, well, if I can show you. Unfortunately, I'm using a Mac, so I can't show you on the Mac, unfortunately. But just for the readers, I can tell you how to do it. What you do is to go to Edit, go to the Edit button, and then across to View, and down here.
Let's just look at this.
Yeah, I can sort of show you here. Down here. On a Mac they don't have it. I'm not quite sure why, but here there's a button called View Source.
Yes.
Yeah, the View Source button. If you click on that, it will come up with a white page that's got a load of sort of gobbledygook on there, a load of internet terms. And within that, there's a line called meta tags. It's fairly easy. You don't have to be an IT person, and within those meta tags, you'll be able to see it.
Well, actually, if you can do it on a Mac.
All right, okay.
And if you do a right click. If you do a right click on the page, you're looking
really?
at.
Okay, I'm learning.
You're learning. It's all, we're all working together here. We'll go on to this page. If you go onto my PC for just a moment, you'll see that this is the actual page. This is the Word Tracker website.
Okay.
If you do a right click on it, you see my mouse is sitting there. This is where you 2 fingers and you click. It'll bring up that menu like that. And you can see that it says View Page Source.
Okay, fantastic.
Click on View Page Source, and I don't know whether you can see, if I can just go in a little bit, you'll see here we've got things like the title of the page. This is actually the code that's generating that page.
Yeah, that's exactly that.
And as we go down the page, you can see the different bits of code, and also somewhere in there will be the keywords that they use for that particular site.
Perfect.
It just goes to show you, doesn't it?
Do you know, I've spent probably, ever since I got my Mac about 18 months ago, not being able to do that. I'm having to use a PC for that.
Steve.
So thank you for helping and educating me, Steve. I've learnt something new, so that's great.
But it is fascinating, and of course they've got to put the keywords in there because they're going to be picked up by the search engines.
Yeah.
So once again, you've got this real opportunity to see how your competitors are positioning their websites. Now, the thing that you've got to be careful of is that you don't start putting your competitors' website name or some of the tags that they put into your site, because, for instance, if you're shall we say, a recruitment company, and then you start putting your competitors' recruitment company's name in your tags, you can actually get into trouble for that.
You can.
So you've got to be very careful.
Yeah.
So what you're looking for are the generic tags for the business that you are
Recruitment
in,
London
not your
or something
competitors'
like that.
names
Yeah,
in
yeah.
there, hoping that if they search for your competitors, I mean, it's unethical for a start, but if they search for your competitors, then they'll not only find them, but they'll also find you as well. It's not the right way of doing it, but there are sites out there that actually do that as well.
Yeah.
And they deserve a slap on the wrist.
Yeah. Do you know, in a seminar recently, I had a solicitor in there, and he said, "Oh, no solicitor would ever do that." The estate agent sat next to him. He went, "Yes." So it just shows you the ethics and the competitiveness of different industries, you know. So
but interesting.
Yeah.
So going back, we look at the meta tags, and we
Yeah.
can actually see the keywords that have been used by other industries in our industry.
Yeah. And if you go onto Google and select the companies or the websites that are rated high and copy them, you're actually copying, in a way, the words that Google likes as well. And so, again, really, really valuable and a great thing to do.
I mean, we don't have a lot of control over Google when it comes to marketing our website through them.
No.
And they can change the rules at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are they just something that we just have to sort out and go for? We have to live by their rules and die by their rules, and that's the long and the short of it? Or are there alternatives that we can use?
There are many alternatives, yeah. I mean, you know, we were talking last time about LinkedIn. I get over 1,000 people to my website every month from LinkedIn. There's pay-per-click advertising. pay-per-click is getting towards, almost as effective as referral, certainly as far as online marketing. Pay-per-click is fantastic, and pay-per-click advertising is available on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on all the search engines, obviously Google AdWords being the most popular, and a fantastic opportunity, highly measurable, highly leverageable, and again, a great opportunity. The problem is that most businesses don't know how to use it. Most businesses go on there, think, well, let's give this a try. They spend a load of money, they find it doesn't work, and they think, well, pay-per-click's a waste of money. I wish I'd got £1 for every time I'd heard that, pay-per-click's a waste of money, email marketing doesn't work anymore, my website's just a brochure site, and telemarketing, that doesn't work in our industry. And the truth is that people try it, they do it a little bit, they find out it doesn't work, and they go off and do something else. Because one of the problems, as I'm sure you're aware, is in marketing you've got so much choice, so many different things that you can do, and knowing what to do is really key, but knowing how to do it is really far more important. And yet most business owners have never done any training in marketing. They're experts, but they're experts in whatever it is they do. They're what I call operational experts. They're great at landscape gardening. I've spent 20 years as a landscape gardener, and I think that I can start my own landscape gardening business. Now, I know nothing about finance, so I get an accountant, and I can, any fool can do their own marketing, stick an advert somewhere, and believe me, most of them do.
And that's the way it works.
Yeah.
Steve, we're going to come back. We're going to give some solid key advice. Strange enough, we had a whole list of things we were going to get through and barely scratched the surface on this one. As always, a really busy programme, and that's just what's so good about this. I can already tell you Steve will be coming back and maybe even continuing the conversation. We've still got another 15 minutes of his time with us tonight. But before we talk a little bit more about the core things that you should be thinking about and some real key advice that you need to make certain that you are marketing properly your business, both across the internet and direct marketing and whatever. We'll talk to Steve again in just a moment. But before that, let's catch up on what's happening in the business news with Linda Bazant.
This is Business Connections Live with the business news for Wednesday the 15th of January 2014. Britain's growth rate could hit 4% this year as the recovery accelerates despite disappointing manufacturing and construction data last week. And the Bank of England is expected to hit its 2% inflation target for the first time in 5 years. All 9 English regions reported solid economic growth last month, but there were signs of a slowdown in London, which dipped to a 6-month low, according to Tim Hinton of Lloyds Bank Commercial. Growth in Wales remained close to its record high, with the business activity rising from 58.4 to 57.2 in November. Nearly 2/3 of businesses have experienced late payment of 90 days or more in the past 6 months, despite government attempts to stop such delays. A study by Sage UK and Ireland showed almost half of those surveyed had cash flow problems owing to late payment. Microsoft is reportedly on course to ditch its troubled Windows 8 operating system in 2015. According to tech blogger Paul Thurrott, the world's biggest software maker will confirm at its Build conference in April that a project titled Threshold will deliver a new operating system, Windows 9. It was scheduled, he said, to be launched in April 2015, following the recent update to Windows 8.1, which also included phone software improvements. And latest figures show that 20% of workers aged 50 and over are self-employed. The Prince of Wales charity Prime, which was set up to help older people over 50 to find jobs, has helped more than 25,000 over 50s to explore self-employment through free training courses, mentoring and networking. And if you have any comments or views on these or any other stories, please contact us on all social media or email studio@businessconnectionslive.com.
She's very good, really, Does it all in one foul swoop in the corner. Well done, Linda. So there we go. One of the items that she was talking about as well was also the fact that large and small businesses are suffering by companies taking 90 days or so. We were just talking about how do you go about doing that. We use for raising invoices, we use an online system called Cashflow for raising invoices.
Okay.
And you can find a link for that actually on the homepage at businessconnectionslive.com. But you were telling quite interestingly that you fell into the trap to a certain extent where businesses would look at you. You're a one-man operation for most of the time, and they were taking 90, 120 days.
Yeah, for the first 15 years of running my business, I probably had somewhere between 10 and 20,000 pounds owing me. And that would go up and down on a daily basis. And we changed a little while ago. We thought, well, why do we have to do things exactly the same as every other business? And we don't. We can make our own rules up in advance. So what we do now is we tell our businesses, our clients, that we have payment up front. So if you want to work with me...
Can you get away with that?
Yeah. Well, as long as you agree it up front, very few, in fact, the only time I have a problem if it's with something like a local authority, because it just takes time for them to pay. But most businesses, I say, look, we send you an invoice and you pay, and then we do the work on this particular day. Is that okay? And everybody says yes.
Good idea.
It's just agreeing it up front. Yeah.
Well, listen, we've kind of whistled a little bit through this particular round. We've been caught and maybe bogged down in some of the different areas, all very interesting. And of course, we were just saying we could sit here for hours, actually, the pair of us, and sort of mull over the fat. But what we will do is that we'll go through some of the systems that we've actually got here with Steve. Tell us a little bit more about the Prudent Marketing System. Now, I don't want this isn't a blatant sell.
No.
It's just that when we saw this, we thought this is such a good idea. And small to medium scale enterprises, small businesses don't really have that resource sitting out there waiting for them to come along and go, yes, here's someone that can help me. It doesn't matter where I am in the country, doesn't matter where I am in the world. The same rules apply. Talk us through the system. Now, we've got a slide here that kind of gives the different steps of the particular thing.
Absolutely. Well, the Prudent Marketing System, you don't need me to implement the Prudent Marketing System. It's a way of marketing. It's a program. It's a strategy.
And here we have we've got different skills.
Yeah, I call them skills because that's what I think they are. I think we all need in small businesses to learn new skills. And the first skill, as we started out today with the interview, is about understanding your numbers. So my advice would be to small businesses to decide, set up a spreadsheet, decide what is it you're going to measure. Is it the number of people to your website? What is your conversion rate of lead to inquiry? What is your average unit of sale? What is your lifetime value? When you win a customer, how much are they worth to you? What is your open rate from your emails? Most businesses don't have a clue. And I mean a clue on those numbers.
So the numbers are really important. Skill number one that you need, understand your numbers. All right, let's look at skill number two,
so
the scoreboard.
The scoreboard is about saying, right, okay, these are my numbers. What do you need to do to improve those numbers? Because if I'm getting 1,000 people to my website, or my email open rate is 15%, then that's what it is, but that isn't what it has to be. We can look at how can we improve
Is it because people have expectations? You do a mail shot and the industry goes 1 to 2% if you're lucky.
I think it absolutely is. And I think one of the things that my sporting background has taught me is that you have to squeeze every ounce of energy and skill and belief out of yourself in order to perform at the top level. And I think most businesses take a simple marketing strategy. That is an advert. They stick an advert in the local newspaper, and that advert runs, and it costs £300, and every time it does, it produces 20 inquiries. Of that is converted into 10 meetings, 5 sales, and let's say £10,000 worth of business. Now there's a variety of key areas there that could be improved. It could be the advert. If we think about what could we improve with the advert, it could be the headline, it could be the location of it, could be the size, could be the offer, the text, the use of pictures, and so on and so forth. Loads of things that we could use. I've helped people to change a headline, and the best ever, I got a 1,200% increase
Crikey.
in the number of inquiries just by changing the headline. Nothing else. It was exactly the same ad. And that, a lot of people don't do that. They just set it up and let it run. Don't measure it, but they win some business from it, so they're happy. And one of the things I'm massively passionate about for small businesses is raise your game. You've got to raise your game. You've got to do better than you did before. You've got to get a better return on investment. These days, we've come through tough times. That pie has shrunk. It's more competitive out there, and we've got to be better at marketing our business. Once we look at the number of inquiries, then what about our inquiry to meeting ratio? What's our sales system? What do? Do we follow up once? Do we follow up twice? Do we send them some additional info? Do we keep on keeping on? Do we make one phone call and think, oh well, I didn't manage to get through to them, I'll leave it for them to call me? Or do we keep marketing or selling in an ethical but ongoing manner? Once we get to that meeting, what is our meeting conversion rate? That's so powerful. I've got a client at the moment, when they first started working with me, 5%. They have 100 meetings, they win 5 new clients. Currently, 25%.
What a change. What a difference that's going to make to their bottom line.
Unbelievable. I mean, if I'd got it from 5% to 10%, that's double the business. But we've gone phenomenally better just by helping them and training them to be a little bit more effective.
All right, so we've got to look at the figures.
Yeah, the figures, and then look at every single part of your marketing, your website. What about the headlines? What about the pictures? What about the use of video? What about the words on that particular page? All those things are going to make a difference, and by changing, by testing and trying to improve the performance of each and every element of your marketing, that's what prudent marketing is about, and that's what every business listening today can do.
Let's look back at that slide once again, just to remind you of the different points that are seen there. So we've got the understanding your numbers, the scoreboard. We've only got around about 4 minutes or so left. So let's very quickly skip through them. The skill number 3, the new skill development. Yeah. The tactic is about developing new income streams. What does that mean?
Yeah, well, that's about, looking at some of the things that you're not doing. If people are not doing pay-per-click advertising, they need to learn how to do that. That's not easy. Most businesses waste a lot of money on it. So it's a new skill that they need to learn. If they're not used to asking for referral, they need to learn that skill, that system, that script of exactly how to do that. Where's the best time? What am I going to say? How am I going to say it? And how can I get the best return on investment from my words?
All right then, so that's that. Back to that slide again, just to remind ourselves. Playing at home.
Playing at home, yeah.
I mean, someone's just having fun.
We all know
in
football we do better when we play at home, don't we?
Is the development of quality relationships with your current client to create raving fans?
Yeah. How can we create that, how can we get more clients that are not just satisfied but absolutely love us, would never dream of going anywhere else? How can we make sure that our clients fully understand the full range of everything that we do? Because they don't. They pigeonhole us. They think, oh, Steve's the guy who does LinkedIn. Oh, Steve's the guy who does internet marketing. And because they've bought that from me in the past, they pigeonhole me. So one of my jobs is to make sure that my clients are fully aware of everything that I do. And again, that's a huge pot of gold that's sitting there and waiting for people to access. And
the next point that we've got here is maximization. How to get more out of many marketing or many marketing streams without money strategies.
Yeah, marketing without money. Marketing without money is a fantastic opportunity. So many marketing advisors will come in and talk to you about how you should spend money on this and spend money on that and so on and so forth. But the truth is there's loads of things that you can do that come under the heading of marketing without money. We've mentioned many of them already. Referral, that's not going to cost you anything. Joint ventures. Who is there out there to help you? LinkedIn, what a great opportunity that is to market yourself. Networking. Networking is a fantastic way of, okay, you got to pay for the petrol to get there, but essentially, you know, you don't have to invest thousands of pounds to go to a Chamber of Commerce event and network effectively there. So, yeah.
And the last point is coaching on the list, coaching for the future.
Coaching for the future is really getting an understanding of this online stuff. You know, as we go forward into 2014 now and beyond, you know, the online marketing is just, you know, it's just going to get bigger. You cannot, and I mean that, you cannot afford to not understand how to market yourself online. And I'm sure over the next few years, it's, you know, businesses are going to go bust because they don't understand this. And, you know, it really is a fundamental part of your business. You know, business owners need to understand how to market themselves. Not just leave it to somebody else, but at least know enough to know whether what they're doing or what this outsourced company is doing is working or not. So it's absolutely essential, I think.
Yeah, time has nearly beaten us.
Okay.
What I would like you to do is straight down the lens and just give us the key things we need to remember from our discussion today, and a little bit of advice for small and medium scale businesses. You know the routine.
Yeah.
So camera 3 is just over my shoulder, so whenever you're ready, Steve, take it away.
Okay. I think probably the key that I'd like to get over is that you're going to constantly and never-endingly look to improve your marketing. You need to think of yourself as a marketing company. You need those skills in the business, whether that's you learning, externalizing it, hiring a company, whatever you decide to do, you are from this day forward a marketing company. One of the offers I'd like to make is you've seen already on my website, theprudentmarketer.com. You can download my free book if you'd like to do that. That would be fantastic. And you know, I look forward to speaking to anybody who'd be interested in further help from me.
And if you want, you can also download that as well from our website. I'm kind of saying that without asking his permission. But
yeah, no, that's
fine.
Yeah.
The link will be there anyway. I can promise you that.
Okay.
Listen, Steve, thank you very much indeed. It's been absolutely fascinating. Please come back again, won't you?
Because I certainly will, Steve.
Every time
My
you come
pleasure.
back, we could do a 2-hour programme. People sighing in my ear. No, not 2 hours, surely not. On our next week's program, we have Kevin Williams of Young Enterprise talking about the Ultimate Teenage Business Challenge and their half-year festival at the Merrill Lynch on the 12th of February. That is fantastic, actually. We're involved with that. We do some of the judging of the videos. It's a fantastic night. That's on the 12th. And on the 26th of January, we'll have another guest. This time it's going to be Aaron Thompson, Digital Director of NatWest Bank's BizCrowd, the new free online community for UK businesses. That's all to come. Don't forget, if you want to contact us here at the programme, studio@businessconnectionslive.com. Please do also go onto our YouTube site and subscribe there as well. But from Steve and me, Steve, we'll see you next week on the programme. Have a fantastic week and successful business. Bye for now. Bye-bye.